All right, so this is for pre-calc geometric sequences, and for this specific question it says a ball is dropped from a height of 10 feet and returns to a height that is 1/2 of the height from which it fell. The ball continues to bounce half of the height of the previous bounce each time. How far will the ball have traveled vertically when it hits the ground for the 4th time? It might be helpful to sketch the path of the ball. Okay, so first off, I just want to tell you that you did plug in, to find the partial sum of this problem, you did the formula correctly. So we know the partial sum is, we take the original value, which we call a sub 1, and then 1 minus r, the ratio to the nth power, all over 1 minus r. The problem is when we plug this in, it asks you how far will the ball have traveled vertically. So this partial sum takes into account the height of each individual bounce. So it'll say initially it was 10 feet, and then half of that would be 5 feet, and then the next time it bounces it returns to a height of 2.5 feet. So it takes half of those each time and it adds them all together. So it would essentially have 10 plus 5 plus 2.5 plus half of that would be 1.75, which is where you're getting the 18.75, okay? Now, the reason that's incorrect is because in application, this actually looks a little bit different. So at the end it says it might be helpful to sketch the path of the ball. All right, so it says a ball is dropped from a height of 10 feet. So let's say we're standing here, and here's the ball. It's dropped from a height of 10 feet and it hits the ground, okay? So at 10 feet right here, it's dropped. It hits the ground. It returns to a height half as big as it originally was. So it returns to a height of 5 feet, and then it drops to the ground again. And then it returns to a height of half of that, which would be half of 5 is 2.5. Drops again, returns to a height of half of that, which would be 1.25, and it hits the ground again. So then it says, how far will the ball have traveled vertically when it hits the ground for the 4th time? So here, 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to know at that point, how far vertically has it traveled? Okay, so think about this. It drops 10 feet. So there's 10. Oops, let's do a different color here. So there's 10 plus. Now, vertically, technically, it goes up 5 feet and then down 5 feet. So I kind of thought of that as 5 feet twice because it went up and down, okay? And then you're going to do the same thing for these other bounces. Up 2.5 feet, down 2.5 feet. So 2.5 feet times 2 plus, and then the same thing for our last bounce. Up 1.25, down 1.25. So 1.25 times 2. So this is 10 plus 10 plus 5 plus 2.5. And if you add those all together, that's 25 plus 2.5, 27.5, which is eventually where you would get your correct answer, okay? So that is definitely a little bit more difficult, because if you just add these numbers, you're going to get the partial sum, which is right there, what we got, 18.75, when we use the formula. That's different than what this application problem is technically asking for, okay?